to rock.
Awesome. Here we go. Everybody jumping in here. Got a lot of people coming in. How's everybody on this wonderful Tuesday? Oh, isn't this
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yes, best way to start our Tuesday. Adrian, oh my gosh, hello. Awesome. And I saw Dave Messina. How cool is that? Man, Loretta, they're all here to see you. Yep, I love it. Oh, this is wonderful. This is the perfect way to start our day, right? I know.
Or enjoy your afternoon.
I was going to say, I know for some of you, it's lunch, right? But
Hello, hello, hello. Say hello, everybody.
yeah. Good to see everybody.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got some people in their car.
Yeah. A lot of people jumping in
Hey,
here.
Adrian, hi, Sharon. Hi, Vic. Vic, take me out to the ball game. Nice shot. Hi, Jim. Hi, Eric. Come on, Eric. Get some coffee going, dude. Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Oh, there we go. We got a couple of coffee cups going. Hi,
Well,
Denise.
I don't drink coffee, but this is it.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Marie Louise. Good to see you.
There's no telling what's in my cup.
As long as you're not flying afterwards, Jim.
There we go.
Or during. Or during.
Nice. All right.
I
great.
see lots
Hi,
of pictures. Some cool pictures people are putting as their shot.
Oh, I need to get into the cool kids club and do
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
And I know Linda's got some cool photos.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hey, Jennifer, you've got a workshop this week coming up in 2 weeks.
Next week, yeah, NEB.
Is it
Very
next week
exciting.
already?
We'll actually be out at these
yes.
beautiful rocks for the
Yeah.
night flight. So it'll be lots of fun. Yes.
Kim knows what those are.
Oh,
Man.
yeah. I think
I'd
flew
love to
them.
attend.
Yeah.
I
Need
flew
to get
them
you out
like a
here.
piece, right, Linda?
Good stuff out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I heard they're going to be taking them down, so you better get out there quick.
What? What?
Yeah, they were sold. Yeah, we're just waiting for the timeline on when they're not going to be there anymore. So
Yeah.
we're happy that they're still here. They're a great
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Greg.
object of interest.
Well, I was
Yeah.
fortunate enough to do a nice 3D model of it. So I've got a really great file, a set of files that we could do
awesome.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually got, we actually had a printer print up one of those 3D models. So we've got it. It's pretty cool.
Have you done that with
that's
anything else?
fun.
Have you printed anything else that's noteworthy?
Not really. No, that was probably the coolest one that we've done.
I think I actually have. I mean, there's another one up here, but this one's not painted. But this is a 3D model of the kissing statue that's in San Diego. And
Fantastic.
this thing is like, I think it's like 40 or 60 feet tall. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
And this was done. I did this on the very first day of COVID. So it was hilarious is that they closed everything and I had a job downtown and I'm looking around and there's nobody there.
Nobody.
It was
It
a
was, I
ghost
know, it
town.
was crazy.
And I thought, okay, this is my only opportunity. I've got airspace. Let me get over to this public place where there's no public. And I really scored. I got real fortunate.
There's a big statue like that of Marilyn Monroe in Palm Springs.
Oh, with the blowing skirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's next on my list when I'm out
That'd
there.
be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Skip's probably done that one.
He probably owns it.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was out visiting Skip, he took me out there and I flew that. It is awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
It's huge. It is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Oh, that would be fun. We need to plan that.
Road trip.
Road trip.
Okay.
Coming
trip.
in.
Where's that, in Palm Springs? I
Yeah.
don't know if I remember seeing that.
Guys,
Yeah.
We have one of those kissing couple in Jersey as well.
Oh,
Awesome. See the amazing things that we can film with our drones, right?
If you Google, I'm sure it must be on Google. The Marilyn Monroe statue in Palm Springs.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So with that, We have so many people here, amazing people here to see Loretta. We are so blessed that she's come to join us on our Women in Drones Coffee Connection. And she's going to be sharing, I don't know if you caught that, but in our Women in Drones e-magazine, the Vertical Space magazine, she did a fantastic write-up about blue drones. And because of that, we thought, oh, we need to have her onto the program so she could share with us a little bit more about it. So Loretta, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to make you spotlight and have the opportunity to share. Thank you. Are you good?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not used to seeing myself so big. I like being a little ahead.
What happened?
Well, anyway, thank you. I would come to these all the time, but this is not coffee time in New York. You know, it is lunchtime, but I'm very excited to be here, and I'm happy to talk about blue drones. I know we have some technical, if not legal experts in the room who will help me out. So I'll just start by sharing my screen. As I was telling Desi, I thought I could actually do this without a PowerPoint, but I couldn't. I had to go with the PowerPoint. Okay, so blue drones, what's it all about? Well, let's see if this will, okay. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm an aviation attorney. I currently do consulting really more than strictly legal work. I'm an adjunct professor at Vaughn College of Aeronautics and Technology, which is a small aeronautical college in New York. I'm retired from the FAA, where I was head of the legal office for over 20 years. The FAA's Eastern region, which at the time comprised 7 states and the District of Columbia. We also did enforcement work for cases that came up in Europe, the Mideast, Africa, and parts of Asia. As Desi mentioned, I wrote an article for Vertical Space magazine on blue drones, and here is the link. So if anybody wants to refer to that article, it's over there. Okay, so what are blue drones? There's blue drones, and then there are blue drones. So the term really started and is used by the military. So the whole concept of concerns started with military and security agencies and professionals. So blue drones is, in military parlance, a friendly drone. So in the military, when there's a reference to blue forces, it's a reference to friendly. So the Defense Innovation Unit that is responsible for vetting drones for military and US government use began using the name blue drones. The confusion comes up because these are not standardized definitions, and other agencies and other government offices and industries are going to potentially define blue drones differently. But right now, the term blue drone denotes, at least in the federal government, denotes drones that meet DoD, which is the Department of Defense, criteria and ensures compliance with Section 848, which is part of the 2020 National Defense Authorization Act, and that is an actual statute. It also meets the requirements of Executive Order 13981, which is not a statute, and executive orders only apply to government agencies, but they're not mandatory in the same way as statutes are. But they are supposed to generally be followed by the government. Okay, so most of you probably know that there's a tremendous amount of concern with regard to Chinese drones and whether or not the data that's captured by those drones can be accessed by the Chinese government. And for the Department of Defense and Homeland Security, as well as other government agencies and others that are involved in data that they don't want shared with the Chinese government, there's a lot of concern about using Chinese drones. There's also the concern, which was really highlighted by the pandemic, that the US doesn't have any drone manufacturing, or has limited drone manufacturing, has limited manufacturing. And we saw during the pandemic that there were a lot of shortages of critical items like computer chips, certainly, masks and all kinds of things, because we haven't kept up with our manufacturing. So the government is interested in encouraging US drone manufacturers, both for cybersecurity reasons and economic security reasons. So if anybody has any questions about any of this at any time, I don't know if I can read the chat at the same time.
That's okay. We can monitor the chat for you if you'd like. And
Okay.
feel free to put your questions and such into the chat. Anybody, if you have questions as she goes through this.
Okay, so 848 prohibits the Department of Defense, with certain limited exceptions, from buying or operating any drone made in China, components made in China. There's anything that relates back to China is what the Department of Defense is trying to prohibit. So the issue is not just with the purchase of the drones, but with operations of those drones. So DOD has exceptions for testing drones that are made in China, and there is a way of getting approval, but the idea was to limit as much as possible. And that's why the Defense Innovation Unit came up with a way of vetting drones so that it's easier to purchase and know that those drones are usable in military operations. Of course, that's raised its own issues, because other drones that could arguably meet those criteria that are not on the list, it makes it harder for them to break in, because they have to go through a vetting process by the military. Also, as I'm sure Adrian knows more than I do, and others of you here, the DOD list is made to military criteria, which makes the drones more expensive and potentially not as good as some cheaper Chinese drones that a lot of people are used to using. So there's a lot of concern about the section and what it requires. Okay, so the executive order applies to all the government agencies. So the Defense Act only applies to the military, DOD. The executive order applies to all government agencies, and it encourages US government agencies to use domestically produced drones. It's the statute limited to Chinese drones, but the executive order is includes prohibitions or encourages not using drones from US adversaries, which includes Russia, Iran, North Korea, in addition to China. And there's a way of adding adversaries. Now, I don't know anyone who's using North Korean drones or Iranian drones or Russian drones, but I guess the idea was to make sure that US government agencies don't buy drones from foreign adversaries. And the purpose of the executive order, again, was twofold: to protect the cybersecurity of the United States, but also to increase the use of domestically produced UAS. Okay, so which drones are considered blue? So if this link works. Okay, so this is a link to
So the link, we would probably have to stop share and start the new link.
oh, okay. All right. Do you want me to do that?
If you'd like, if you want to share that link,
Share the link in chat.
we can do that. You can put it in the chat and we all can open it up on the side.
Oh, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so
UAS.
I just wanted to show people that that there was a link. These are the approved or the drones that are on the list.
Might you clear that window so we could see the link, please?
Okay, I'm not sure what clear the link
Oh,
means.
you have a little window that's blocking the URL open.
So when you go back to it, there was a box and see it says extensions that are
Oh,
not
sorry.
supported. If we can close that out.
Okay, you're getting beyond my ability.
All right, try it one more time.
Oh dear God.
See, that's a great thing. We just
Loretta, none of us can compare with Desi's ability, so you are not alone. That's why Desi is Desi. She can get it done. So join our club of we all require Desi.
Oh,
Kyle
okay.
has put that in chat already.
Oh, all right. So we don't need to go through this. Okay, thank you. Oh dear. All right. Thank you. Okay, so basically the point really was only that there is a UAS cleared list. And these are drones that meet military specifications. And the whole point is that it makes it easier for DoD to buy drones or use companies, contract with companies if they're using these drones. So they don't need further clearance. And for those of you who have not worked in the government, anytime there is something on a cleared list, you use it because it makes your life easier. And that is one of the controversies with the GSA schedule. So the civilian part of the government has what's called a GSA schedule, the Government Services and General Services Administration schedule. And it's a way of procuring services and buying equipment in a faster way. You don't have to do RFPs. A lot of times you don't have to do any outside bidding. And this has concerned some US manufacturers because right now, the only drones on the GSA schedule are the DoD cleared list. So I know that some US manufacturers are trying to get that list expanded because they claim that it's having the opposite impact. Instead of encouraging US manufacturers, it's actually limiting them. So we'll have to see what happens. But having worked in the government, if anything was ever on a GSA schedule and it anywhere close to met your needs, you would use the GSA schedule. The military drones are, as I understand it, significantly more expensive than drones that are typically used in commercial activities. Okay, so how will blue drones requirements affect you, which is what most people really care about. So if you're doing real estate, wedding, that kind of cinematography or photography, blue drone requirements are very unlikely to affect you. So if you're doing anything like that, it's good to know what blue drones means, but it's unlikely to affect you. If you are contracting with the military or Homeland Security or any security agency, the FBI, if you're contracting to sell drones or to do a contract, it's definitely going to affect you. It's likely going to affect you if you're contracting with other US government agencies because of the executive order and the GSA schedule only having blue drones. That doesn't mean that you can't get around this. It just means that you're going to have to do extra work. State and local governments are very likely to start looking at blue drone requirements. We already have the state of Florida that put out blue drone requirements. They have since blocked access to the blue drone requirement page. So it's created some confusion. And a lot of law enforcement agencies, as you know, are using DHI and Chinese drones. So there is concern about the impact of these blue drones on those operations. If you're doing any kind of inspection contracts for utilities, pipelines, bridges, any kind of critical infrastructure, it's likely that questions are going to be raised about blue drone requirements. And again, you may be able to demonstrate how your operation protects cyber information and data, doesn't connect with the internet, et cetera. But it's going to be an issue, and you need to get up to speed on how you would meet that, whether you would buy one of these drones or rent them, or ensure that your drone is prepared for these kinds of missions.
There's a lot of conversation going on in our chat right now. We started off with Autel, we noticed wasn't actually on the list. And so the conversation went on regarding, why. Jennifer Pigeon has put in a lot of comments regarding Autel had drones that had been made in the USA, but they didn't push to make the blue list. And so, and then Vic mentioned that DOI requires it, and they were working on a project. And so Patricia asked about the Autel using chips manufactured in China. And then, so there's quite a bit of conversation going on in our chat. So we do have some questions. So I see we're at a point with questions. And so I'm going to roll back up and kind of come in with some of them as far as the chips. And so Autel is not on the list, it looks like. And so there were some questions regarding the chips and such. Do you have details on that aspect of it, or just more of the regulation side, not manufacturing side?
Yeah, I know that I don't think you can really source too many chips in the US. So I think that even though they're not supposed to use anything that was manufactured in China, I understand that they are using some of the approved list has Chinese made chips, but maybe some of the more technically inclined people would know more about that than I do.
Awesome. Oh, and Dave Messina, he had said, Loretta, do you anticipate the Blue Drone program will expand to civil aviation use of drones? Fantastic question.
I definitely think it's going to permeate state and local governments and anybody that's doing sensitive work, infrastructure work. I don't see that there's going to be requirements for, hobbyists or, wedding photographers. I mean, I don't see it going that far, but definitely think that. And the definition of cybersecurity requirements or Blue Drone requirements, I think is going to become contract or agency specific. I don't know that everyone, I see the comment is already in place, utility inspections on military bases. Yeah, that definitely, but even not on military bases, I know that there's been requests for use of Blue Drones for critical infrastructure inspections. But I also know that some people have been able to demonstrate how Chinese drones can still be used. And I think Adrian is familiar with this.
And Adrian has his hand up. If you'd like, Adrian, go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, so we were at a public safety drone summit earlier last week, and some of the numbers were a little startling. So over 90% of law enforcement, fire departments, EMTs, first responders are using Chinese drones. And for these bans or, what's happening in Florida is really disheartening, because essentially these first responders are not allowed to use those tools that they've been using to save lives. So my question would it be more constructive to maybe have a set of standards versus a country of origin ban, where we set a standard of maybe that the data acquisition or the data transfer, when we can understand better how that data is being transferred or secured, versus just saying, well, if you're from this country, we're not going to allow you to sell or operate drones. So that's my question. Would we be better served as drone service providers? I know most of my fleet is made in China, and who's not to say that one day the government just says, hey, you're not allowed to use these because of a security threat. So I think my question to Loretta, would it be better to have a set of standards or just go by the country of origin ban that they currently have?
Well, I mean, there are two purposes to the whole push for Blue Drones. I think there is a concern with the lack of US manufacturing. So that would not be helped by just having standards. So I think it's a twofold concern. I mean, I am also uncomfortable with the focus on countries, but I do see that we have to encourage US manufacturing, and this may be one way of doing that. And I also agree with you that it's very disheartening when you see the potential quality of a US manufactured drone and you compare it to the cost and quality of a Chinese manufactured one. And you're concerned that law enforcement might not be able to accomplish their job or their mission because they can't afford the drones, or the drones aren't doing what they want. So I think we are in a difficult period, but hopefully there'll be a way of doing what you're suggesting, setting up standards for using the drones that we have today that are Chinese, so that they don't create the cybersecurity risk, but at the same time encouraging manufacturing in the US.
Awesome. Kyle had asked about the software providers. Do you see a future through the software side of things?
Well, I think the DoD ban affects everything that's involved. That's Chinese. It's not just limited to the hardware. So, yeah, I definitely think that anything that can store data and give it to countries that are considered our adversaries is going to be a concern.
Awesome. Awesome. Jim says, yes, apps, control systems that are included in the Blue Forces compliance. All right. I see Jennifer Pigeon shaking her head. Yes. Yes. Kim, did you want to unmute and ask your question?
Maybe. Adrian, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Somebody said that to me yesterday. I was like, that's great. I must live in Philly. So have the DJI drones, I was just down in Florida not too long ago, and I was talking to some firefighters, the fire chief in the area. Awesome. He was so excited to show me all the footage that he got of a house on fire. That's the one thing I love about drones. Like, you know, we're talking about tragedies and people are excited to share the story of how the drone saved the day. You know, it's like this sorrowful act, and then people are enthusiastic about the equipment. But we had mentioned about the DJI Blue List, and, you know, they just kind of, you know, brushed it off. So are they actually banned, or is this something moving forward, or there's a day of enactment? Do you know? Does anybody know?
January 1st, 2023 for public safety in Florida.
Okay. Boy, 2023 is going to be a big year for drones. Everything's projected in that year. It's like we're going to party like it's 1999. Remember that song when everything, or Y2K? Oh, it's going to be the Y2K of drones. Thank you.
There is a
Yeah,
lot.
I see a question from David. I mean, the only thing that I see on the Defense Innovation Unit is the whole drones, but, you know, it's possible in the future that they'll be looking at components, but I don't see that on their list.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any questions and thoughts that they'd like to put up? Vic just unmiked. I could tell he's got a question coming.
Well, I'm not going to get political because my stance on the blue drone list is public. One thing we're going to have to watch out for when this really starts to take shape is 2023 FAA Reauthorization Act. Things like this can be put in there. And so that's where we really need to kind of keep an eye on things, and we'll do our part, obviously, at the SPA. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that for now, because I don't want to turn this into that. But yeah, definitely want to watch out for that 2023 FAA Reauthorization Act, where they're going to go in and do all kinds of fun things like they did in 2018. And we'll go from there. Hopefully the BB loss thing will be in there too. So let's look at the positive side of things.
That's what we're hoping for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But you're right, Vic. There can always be negative things snuck in there. You really have to stay on top of the legislation as it's being created.
I don't know what side you're on, Vic. Is it public? If it's public.
I hate it. But it's, I understand it in certain situations. But right now I'm working with the National Park Service, trying to get some drone footage, let me put it that way, of one of the parks for their Welcome Center video. I'm working with a production company, and the steps we have to go through to get approved to fly anything, even one of the ones on the blue list, is asinine. It's I can, obviously we don't want these things flying at, the Fort Knox or CIA or whoever, those places, but there's not a whole lot of critical infrastructure in this particular park. And they should be a little more judicious in their decision-making process about what can fly where. But that's just my thoughts. So DOI is being an issue as well. So I may lose out on the job. I've already lost out on one job for DOI property for reasons like this. It just doesn't make sense. But that's my position, Loretta.
All right. Okay. Looks like Dave Messina said that Kim, as you probably know, the 2023 reauthorization for the FAA will be written this year. And he's starting to work on it now. So, all right, well, put in good things for us. All right, Dave.
I'm a
Okay.
last minute kind of person, so that's why I always think like that. Like, 2 years from now, you're like writing it now.
It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like sporting events, like one of my friend, he's part of filming all the PGA golf tournaments, like all that kind of stuff is starting to happen. But yet, when it comes to parks, like Vic's saying, to take shots to actually assist the parks and grow the parks and all that, it's different.
Yeah. So Loretta, we're about to segue over to our breakout sessions, and I do want to keep the conversation going as far as the future and what we see with blue drones. But do you have any final thoughts as far as what you'd like to share, ideas or thought of how you feel it'll be moving forward?
Yeah, I definitely feel that anyone who's doing anything with state, local, federal government has to keep on top. I definitely agree with Vic and David that, or whoever else commented, Jim, that you need to make sure your representatives, if you want something in the law or you don't want something in the law, that you make sure your representatives are aware of that and the reasons for it. Because we are going to see a lot of crazy stuff coming out, as we see every year. A lot of it, gets put into the law, but the FAA never implements it, and there's no repercussions for that. So that can be good and bad.
That fantastic advice. We definitely need to stay on top of it and be aware of it, of what's happening. Yeah. So. With that, I want to say thank you very, very much. It was very informative. Yes, it was wonderful to have you on our program, and we are going to break off into our breakout sessions. So I have 2 rooms, they're pretty large, but I'd like to get the topic going of the future of drones and such. And then when we get back, Vic, I'd like to give you the floor one more time for your last segue to shout out for the Oregon parks, okay? So when we get back, we'll do that, all right? All right, thank you again, Loretta, and we're gonna go to the smaller breakout sessions. All right.
Thanks for all the input, everybody.
That kind of wraps it up.